Gnar is available, and we're going to get that boring matchup towards the top side of the map. I know everyone's sad, but I think we could all expect that this was going to happen. Kingen is the best
out there to trade something back. Okay, here comes an all-in at 6.
Yep, looking for it. Ulti comes down. That's the flick back and a very, very swift and comfortable first blood for Chief. Play onto that one.
He's coming, and they do have vision of this, but I don't think it's going to help them escape, sadly.
Ooh, Hook is going to miss, unfortunately, as Bao throws out the Moonlight Vigil. Doesn't really do too much as Lava's looking to make his way in as well. And here's the dive. Ulti comes through from Lava, doesn't land it onto the Aphelios, but it does not matter. They have easily enough damage. It's of brilliance, though, and I think that, you know, as a gentleman whose cup is also often half full, Wolf. Watch out, Eep. I like it, but Flicker's still going to connect, and there's the shockwave out onto Chieftain. Solka still looking for the damage as Becca's hook is fantastic. Delight finds a couple of charms there as Lava has the sword out and does manage to lock down 2 kills with the help of Henna there as well. But now Kingen's going to make his way in, and Bao's getting fed off the back end. It's a double, make it a triple for the... Kingen was sort of overperforming in 2021 after having a pretty forgettable rest of his career, to be perfectly honest. I know that sounds a little bit BM, but
and that is what we see here. Lava with a nice
teleport coming through. Yeah, you can see Hoya's going to make his way in. Arrow's going to connect as that's a big stun. Couple picked up into the air from Lava as Pioshik trying to get himself out. Hoya throws in a barrel to try and lock down Kingen, but they only get
on their team. You are going to struggle to walk into these choke points. You're going to struggle to walk into these. There was never a moment where they're considering turning around and fighting that. They're just trying to retreat into that choke as fast as they could. The bottom side Drake. Mountain Drake looks like he's just going to go over without a hitch.
That's too easy. Freddy Brown sort of kept left napping a little bit, but the arrow's going to connect. This is what we were talking about. Flick comes back, a very dead Bao. And I like that. Look, they didn't manage to pick up the Drake. They didn't manage to set up for it, but they certainly took a timer on that cleanse and said, we got it, now let's kill him. Yeah. So we can celebrate that one for Freddy, who takes that. Lantern, Lava, we go back to his unbound soul as the flash has to come through. The triple flay comes out from Becca, who's still trying to be a hero. Bao not quite getting enough damage there from the Moonlight Vigil as the barrel comes down as a bit of a fadeaway there from Hoya as the Gnar comes back. Kingen trying to be a hero. They grab the Seraphine, and once again, Becca's there with the... DRX can capitalize. As Kingen, he's found Hoya, and he's a problem, man. This Gnar is huge. And the rest of Freddy Brown could be in trouble. Hook is going to go wide there as that's the flick over the wall. Bao tries to keep himself alive, but he ain't gonna. Henna now goes golden. Kingen is going to look to deal with him. The crunch comes down. Game, and they're like, we're not going to participate in the map anymore. That's not what we're about. We want to try and fight you guys. And they've just given things...
Meanwhile, they're just going to stand here and get hooked instead. Okay.
Wow, really nice hook. Coming out onto Chieftain, who should be able to make it out to relative safety. Goes golden as Henna trying to keep them away, but no. Not going to happen, and now Kingen's made his way in. This guy's gigantic. He's got himself a BF sword at the same time as ulti comes through from Lava, but immediately he has to hop back. Don't know whether that... Yeah, ain't gonna be me, boy.
Yeah, he's like, I could cast them all into the wall and then die, but maybe I'll just follow-up hasn't been there.
Yeah.
There's another one.
That's a goal right there, as you can see. Oh my god, Bao caught out of position. The shockwave hits no one, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't go down as Kingen gets a double ulti back. Great play as well as Chieftain is well and truly dead. Bao doesn't want to walk through the pebbles. He's just going to wait that one out, so he's not going to be there for the rest of the fight. But DRX just looks too strong, and by DRX, I mean Kingen looks too strong as Lava goes back to his unbound soul, and Kingen's just like, I got a GA, man. I don't care about this at what.
His ultimate, so he's flanking here, but for what? He's just going to stare at them from the side. He actually has to use his unbound soul to try to clear the minions and push them back. This looks like this might be the push to end it, if they can get a strong engage here. There's no more tools. They blew everything in that last attempt in the mid lane. And it was a good idea, right? I mean, they had the cast flank, but it's not enough.
Oh, that's another Gnar. Just goes in and gets Henna. Just takes him out. It is going to be the GA, most likely pop, but no, actually no. Never mind. This Gnar is just too huge. Still going in, and the GA goes down. Hoya is going to answer, but he is way lower and doesn't really have any means of being in here. Does have to flash, gets himself out. And actually, that's the issue that I think they have, especially Bao, right? Who's got QSS as well as the cleanse.
Why? To prolong the game. It's not going to, like, win them the game. Here we go.
Well, Wall is going to wall them off. I actually really like this play. It's very cute. Bao comes in. Moonlight Vigil does a lot of damage. It is going to be the Baron secured, but can they actually win the fight? As the ulti comes in and Lava disappears. That was an odd one. Bao is going to flash, but immediately Chieftain's going to make it over the wall. Is now Hoya Goes for a bit of a fadeaway jump shot and does get himself to relative safety. Empowered back will make it so that the Gragas survives, but that's a couple of Barons now in trade for most likely a Nexus at this point in the game.
Yeah, that is going to be it. I mean, look, I think it was the only thing they could have tried to do, and they executed it about as well as they could with the Talia wall. It's just not enough. They're just too far behind at this stage, Atlas, and
yeah,
this is going to be the push to end. A Baron for a Nexus, never what you want, but they didn't have any other choice. They had to try for it.
Yeah, big shockwave comes in. It's going to be Becca that steals away the kill. I think this Thresh has been fantastic so far this game. 12 out of 13 when it comes to kill participation is fantastic for a game approaching 40 minutes. The Nexus will go down, and DRX, despite, you know, being up against a difficult lane in the Ashe Seraphine and things like that, it was than the more damage-oriented variant that he did have in the last game, and it is going to be the Alistar. So we've got a bit of a jumping castle. It's real sad, real sad. By the way, to anyone who's still confused in the chat or anything,
which is what you would expect for the first time, it feels like he's finally really firmly taking control of that. And unfortunately for DRX, there's no way to trade this back and actually trying to. She got them a kill. She's gotten them both Drakes because of faster rotation speed. And Lava, where are you, man?
I just took like 3 turret shots, 2 turret shots, but culling is going to be respected, and Lava will walk out with about 200 health. Still, I mean, he's having a rough day today. Is good, I guess, is going to be the question. Pyoshik here clearing out minions in the mid lane. Lava teleporting back here as well, just to make sure that they don't lose all control. It looks like they're not really interested in fighting for this Mountain Drake, and Fred Brion understanding they don't have the correct positioning, but at this stage, it's still a bad thing, right? Like, they should have been trying to get towards a Mountain Soul, but just dropping the ball.
Objective. I mean, last game was obviously much more egregious because controlling those fights and controlling those positions actually is how their comp worked to get those big wombos. I mean, that's why you delay his back so much. That's why you push it so hard. They're getting other advantages on the map at the moment, you know, with the push.
It's going to connect, but still just going to try and defend this turret. But as we mentioned before, Shirley saw to it, and that will be taken down. So a lot of map control.
We're going to go to the bottom part. We'll go to the top part. It's not a 1-for-1 like that.
I mean, it looks like you can. I mean, what are they doing? But here, the Baron is getting taken down extraordinarily low. They've got a Callista for the lockdown as well. These sticks can be pulled out for a lot of damage. You can see all of them are in there, and that's just a free Baron. Yeah, we do this. We do gentleman's agreement, Wolf, okay? You get an objective, we get an objective. It's like an episode of Oprah or something like that.
Well, it certainly didn't have to be that way, but DRX were not quick on the draw there. And that was a really nice Weaver's Wall, to be fair, to make sure that it was, you know, a lot tougher for them.
And Lava should be able to deal with this one. Siege Minion going to help him out. Ardent Blaze for the Love Hearts, love it. As ever in any of the... we sort of have public gyms sort of thing sometimes. A lot of them sort of like in parks and things like that. But there's often just hula hoops just hanging around. That was that reminded me of that. As Solka just sort of throws that one in. We've got a Weaver's Wall to break off Pyoshik. He does, of course, have his quick draw. He gets over that wall very comfortably. And anyone's ever going to fight each other ever.
They have
got a dash, so the light's never going to be able to find him. Becca now over the wall. Hoya's going to turn up. There we go. In. That's going to bring back Pyoshik. And finally, there's another kill. The Graves falls down. The culling comes in. Bladewell's great. But the flash forward from Henna, and that is a dead horse clothes lady. And that is 2 kills. Is this just going to be the end of the game?
It could be.
2 kills, and that's it. Fred Brion, no Baron left available, but now they're looking to break open this base. And this gold score starting to really balloon out of control, despite the fact that there hasn't been any action whatsoever. I feel like DRX's trade of Mountain Drake #2 for the Baron
led to this cascade effect here for Fred Brion, where they just get everything on the map because they've had control for so long.
Managed to get some control, but this push down the mid lane with the augmentation of some super creeps is going to be strong. Kingen now finds himself alone as he dives on in. 3-man knock-up with the 3rd Q. Great, as now Becca gets delivered into Hoya. Kingen is going to go down, though, but has he bought enough time? I think the answer is going to be no. It's a double kill for Henna. The S-rank ain't good enough. Make that a triple. It could be the quadra kill, but no. Hoya is going to steal that one away, and I mentioned that it might have been over before. I think it could definitely be now, as Umpty puts the last couple of rocks into Rel, and that's going to be your Omen ace.
Very impressive engage here for Fred Brion. For the first time in this series, they take Baron control vision back. They push mid with the super minions. And this time they're not just running it down mid, they're forcing an engage in mid that successfully leads to a team wipe, and then bringing this series back to a third game. I'd rather see the Galio at least for some really nice counter engages to the Alistair. But yeah, they take that over the Rel, which was
just yet. As Pyosik looking for a potential dive. This is dangerous as Delight gets a headbutt onto Becca. He's gonna flash, gets himself out of the way. No teleport available or anything like that, and of course, no mana bar for either of these mid laners. And it looks like
here, they can actually cut Umti off. They don't have vision, and this is actually a really nice engage here already for Delight.
Yeah, big knock up, headbutt back onto Becca. He is definitely dead. The stick's gonna get pulled out. Umti turns up, and
so they know that. They're right here in their face. Everyone for DRX really wants this Herald. Really good delay here so far for Fred Brion, and he's coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be stolen away there, as you can see. Immediately, Bao is just eliminated. Great task for the delivery as the flash in from Umti's trying to get himself towards some decent sleeps, but only lands it onto Solka, but that's the target they wanted. Umti grabs that kill.
Fights here are going to have to be cleaner for DRX against this cast play from Hoya.
Yeah, Hoya's just being a little bit too good at the moment. I feel like the Gragas has been very high. I didn't need to kill you.
I mean, there's no
question mark thing comes in as well.
Yeah, there's no cleanse on Bao, so...
The outer turret on the bottom side of the map, and that's going to be much better than just a bit of chip damage onto an inner turret. Doesn't really get you too much, especially if that pressure is going to... The Mythic's coming in here. There's Strybreaker done for Kingen. Possibly a fight, though, as there's the Justice Punch. Good taunt onto Delight, but immediately the Fate's Call comes in, and you can see Pyosik's out of position. The heroic entrance might actually just be a death sentence, unfortunately, for Becca, who has to flash out. Hoya immediately there is going to answer as the cast comes through, but it just is going to take Becca on a ride, but he still just walks back in and dies to lava. Shirley has been aggroed, and Umti going to continue his parade around these neutral objectives. Cloud Drake is...
They have significant leads in the jungle, in the bot lane. And, you know, Hoya, despite being down in the matchup that's, you know, obviously pretty defensive for the Gragas, is making a big impact
in position, and no one from DRX is going to be able to answer, so actually a really good macro play. Oh man, I might have cast a Cursed him real bad, as he could be out of position. Pyosik going to be pushed back though, as Hoya's just going to have to try and drink and hope that everything's going to be okay. It's not going to be though, as Kingen's going to be able to get Mega Gnar, finds it with the last time.
Doesn't seem like it based on the range here. Is
okay, Fate's Call for the engage. That's going to be the Justice Punch's Delight with the Unbreakable Will is going to be able to keep himself alive. That gravity field's in a perfect position, as now Fred Brion getting pushed back. Solka a lot of damage right now. Level 14 in comparison to the 13 of Lava, and now Henna able to dance away from that one, but not quite enough. As the Qs are starting to hurt, that's a big boulder straight into the back of Henna, but he does keep himself up with his shield bow. And now this tower is under siege. There's the headbutt into the tower from Kingen. And now the flash forward, but the answering flash from Hoya is going to be good, and that's going to mean that we're going to have a disengage.
Yeah, disengage for sure. And, oh, this could be a really nice way to set up a sleeve. It's going to be a delayed one as well.
Oh,
Lava.
No, Bauer's a bit late on the Blade Well as well, but it's still not quite enough space being bought. So it's going to be okay. This Cloud Drake under fire from DRX, but it looks like Umti's going to be able to get in here, and it looks like DRX are just going to be a little bit too nervous to take this one. It's 3 versus 4 at this stage, as Umti can actually flash over this wall if he wants to. Gonna go golden first, let the rest of his team arrive, but eventually does have to flash. I believe that was a Zonya's, so it doesn't really lose out on too much. Not like he's breaking a stopwatch or anything like that. Wanting to start a fight. Just going to take a little bit of poke damage, otherwise not too much more. Solka has to flash to get out of the way of the Cullen Chaos Storm. Going to be the answer, as there's the Unbreakable Will. Delight. 3-man pulverize is good, as in goes on. Sleeps absolutely everyone. And now Fred and Brion are just going to take them one after the other. Kingen, relatively low health, but does have the Mega Gnar, pushes a bunch of them back in as Lava will be taken down, and now it might be Bao's turn to finish off this fight. Henna trying to bounce around, but it's a triple kill. And finally, we see...
That's what you end up with, is Hoya is just barely going to be able to sustain himself up enough to take this Drake, it looks like. But again, a Baron trade for a Drake, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
Well, this is a pretty different situation, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to be the same as last game, so not nearly as egregious, but still a good move there.
It's a Victor and a Samira, who are the best ones that you're going to want to have in a skirmish like that, because their damage output is just insane. Even with the Victor not having the flash, they've got range, and they've got that seal the deal damage that's going to come in with the Inferno trigger.
Yeah,
Good
not to mention
positioning.
Collector picked up as well. All of the confirmations on the kills, real nice. Double siege minion here, trying to be protected by DRX as Kingen down towards the bottom side. Just this 4-1 working out relatively well. Nice sidestep on the cast there from Kingen. Make sure that he's going to be okay. No, that was just a barrel, never mind. Just think that I'm seeing things as the inhibitor is going to be taken down. I'm just desperate for some action, Wolf. I want R buttons to be pressed, and
I think
they're
we might
just
see
not.
some in a moment
Hopefully. Fred Brion, are they going to do it?
here. I mean, Fred and Brion are going to have
takes a
to.
bit of damage. Okay.
They have to be aggressive here. They're going to lose another inhibitor.
I mean, the inhibitor turret's going to go down, and DRX now trying to push forward. Fred Brion still. Trigger hasn't been pulled. They've got all of the R buttons available, but none of them are getting pressed. He's building towards his Infinity Edge by the looks of things. This inner turret, certainly not something that Fred Brion can ever defend. And I like this. DRX making sure that they can get something done, but here's the hard engage. Hoya looking for the flanking play. Pioshik possibly out of position, but now Hoya has to deal with him instead as Becca over to the side looking for that big taunt. Heroic entrance, though, will be interrupted. Becca's pretty tanky at this point in time, though, and the front line's not quite there. Hoya goes golden, though. He's buying the time, looking for the opportunity. Kingen can't necessarily get back into this one, and it's just one kill, but it might
Really
be
badly
enough.
split up for DRX in this exchange. We are going to see
Left on these inhibitors before they can start pushing things back out again. Is Henna just going to go in by himself? Has the ulti available as Fate's Call will allow Delight to get delivered, and Becca buys time, actually flashes out, and will survive for the moment. Delight now, Unbreakable will keep him alive.
Sleep is still available here for Umti, so DRX need to be careful about this fight.
But they
So
do have
greedy.
the Callista, so they are going to be able to take that one down. As in goes Kingen, gets the ulti back onto the members of Fred Brion. Heroic entrance as well to augment the CC, and that S-Rank ain't going to do it. Oh dear, this could just be the end for Fred Brion, unfortunately. DRX find the team fight, they find the Baron. Hoya finds his Zhonya's, but he'll also find the Death Chamber.
Very, very back and forth and close game, and another heroic attempt here in the late game for Fred Brion to turn it back. But at the end of the day, more decisive play around the Baron once again for DRX. They're able to take that fight there as they turn away from the Baron and onto Fred Brion and close this series out. A series that was much closer, I feel like, than it needed to be, but it ends up being DRX in the end.
Yep, if you're a DRX fan, you're not exactly going to be the most excited.